Suppose we can go ahead and get started. I'm Jared Keenan. I'm the wastewater superintendent for City of Indianola. It's going to do a little quick presentation. I already presented this to the council for our study session at the beginning of February, so that is on our website as well for you to watch if you'd like to. Um, so we're proposing a fats, oil, and grease program to help kind of reduce what is getting put into our infrastructure and causing backups and things like that. So here's our timeline. So we did the study session on the 16th. We're doing our public meeting today, and then we'll have three considerations for the ordinance, and then hopefully adopted March 26th. Just a little describer of what fog is. It's pretty much anything that is like butter, meat trimmings, even milk. So like coffee shops, any like the milk that they dump down for that. Oils, any of the plant-based oils, all the vegetable oils. And then grease from like plates at restaurants, just different greases that are on those. Those go into our system and they basically they get together and coagulate and then create blockages, and it creates issues for us. We have to come out, we have to clean that, and it can create blockages down the line and create issues for other residents and other business owners as well. So the three things that really we're wanting to do this fog program for are for public health, the environmental concerns. If we have backups, it can be a sanitary sewer overflow of our manholes and go into storm sewer drains, and then that goes into our waterways. And then obviously the financial impact, if we have damages in houses and businesses from a backup, that's a pretty big impact to people. For clearing a blockage, it's a pretty big deal for us. We have to go out. It can take us up to 4 hours to clean a blockage. Because a lot of times it doesn't just affect one little area, it'll go down the line and affect multiple sections of sewer lines. And then if it's overflows into the out of the manhole into the storm sewers, we have to make calls to the DNR and do reports for that too as well. Some of the costs that we see with that, it can be $225 an hour because we have to run our jet truck and our laborers, and then $260 an hour if it's an overtime call out. So what type of facilities are affected? All commercial, institutional cooking establishments as well as non-cooking establishments. Currently, we have 56 in Indianola. With our records, we have 16 that don't have any control for their fats, oils, and greases as a grease trap or grease interceptor. Here are kind of the two modes of what would count as a fog removal, grease trap and a grease interceptor. Basically, the differences are capacity. Grease traps are a lot smaller. They can be under the sink in the building. A grease interceptor is much larger, but can take a lot more capacity for those much larger establishments. For the enforcement, we're looking at doing inspections. Basically, for an interceptor, we're going to come out, we're going to measure the tank, and we kind of have a little sheet here for looking at the fog will float at the top, and all the solids will fall to the bottom, and then we'll have that gray water in the middle, and then we kind of do a little calculation to look at that percentage. If it exceeds the 25% rule, then we're that fats, oil, and grease. The fog and solids divided by the depth of the interceptor contents, then it needs to be cleaned out. We'll be doing that quarterly, finding out how often you'll need to clean your system. The more you need to clean it, better it's working. As far as fees, a fee for the grease trap inspection from our staff. We'll have to do the inspection, staffing, do the sample collection, and then also send that test out to the lab to know what your discharge would be. We're gonna have some different challenges with that. We'll have to have new supplies and different chemicals that we have to do for preservations of those samples. And then if there is a fee for non-compliance, that can be up to $1,000 per occurrence. And that is all I have. You guys have any questions? I did give you guys a couple handouts too. Those just some frequently asked questions and different stuff there for your information.
Our consumables, I know we end up cleaning our grease traps out once a year,
Mhm.
sometimes twice a year.
Yep,
On the trouble fields.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. So we do an inspection, basically find out, is that frequently enough?
Yeah.
That's what that inspection would tell us. And if you're cleaning it out frequently enough, then
Yeah.
great. If not, then just have to be more frequent.
And by the new code, I saw that the solid shouldn't reach 25% of the design liquid level.
Mhm. Yep.
So as long as you maintain that, you should be good.
Yep.
What's the capacity of it? You know,
It all depends. I mean, we had several that I didn't say for the month before.
so they're indoors.
Yeah,
No indoors. Okay.
but like while it's in the sucker outside. We usually don't have that many solid, we don't do it. Really, like the elementaries are all, bag, they only could need it for. Come to bags.
Sure, yeah, so basically it also covers anything that's washed down three-bay sink, so you have three-bay sink up to it. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
That's for the hydromechanical, that's why you're allowed the hydromechanical small ones. So you can have a lot.
One thing that may add to what Jared said is that now the city will require maintenance loans.
Mhm.
Correct?
Yep, record keeping on your part of when it's getting cleaned out, how often.
How often typically do they, you know,
Just depends on the size. Yeah.
and
So-
is it gonna be, can you do either one, the grease trap or the inspector?
Well, that depends.
Okay,
So if you have space constraints, so that's basically the biggest thing that would prevent you from doing an outlet. But we will always require a minimum 1,000 gallons outside. So if you can't, then we allow it.
Jordan, I think it might, both of you might be worth clarifying kind of what is going to trigger the need for one, because I know some restaurants don't currently have grease interceptors.
Mhm.
We're not necessarily saying, now you have to have one, there's gonna be things, so maybe
Right.
just explain that really quick.
So that was one of the sheets I gave you, was kind of what would trigger those things. So if you're in an existing establishment, there is no requirement that you have to put in one unless there is a caused issue. You're causing issues in the system, or there's a few different stipulations on there. For if you're doing a large renovation to your plumbing system on there. And then all new facilities, new builds would need.
It's not just a renovation plumbing system, it's a renovation building.
how about change of ownership?
So that, yeah, change of ownership wouldn't necessarily trigger the grease interceptor, but if the establishment stays vacant, I believe, for longer than 12 months. Yeah, and we make it for one.
And all those descriptions are in that one handout I gave you.
Is there a water test that you do to see if you're causing a problem? Like, what waste coming out, do you test it?
Yeah, so we would do a fog test. That's would be one of the fees for us coming out and doing it. You have to stay below 200 milligrams a liter for fats, oils, and grease for that test. But then if we were seeing constant issues in a certain area, that could also trigger us looking into that more.
Would we know now though, if we were issued?
We have certain areas that we keep an eye on. We have a biannual list where we clean certain areas. That could be depending on many different issues, but we know where our problem areas are.
I just
How
didn't.
many times have I been?
I'm not sure.
That's my question. If we would know of be an issue. You know what
Which
I mean?
restaurant you guys own?
Process.
Oh, Kraus. So you guys probably have quite the amount of grease.
Huh? You do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I mean, and this is all just because, obviously grease is detrimental to the city's sewer system, so we're just trying to mitigate that as best way we can.
Years ago, I put in my own manhole outside the building. Because I was the lowest one on the block and everybody ran into it. So the hotel was next door to me. You know, I get the waste, but I think, well, I can wait till Monday. To call somebody. Well, I gained a foot of shit and. So I put one in. You know, made me higher, not me out.
Yep.
So do you guys have an indoor trap then underneath the sink or anything?
No. But the person put one right there,
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely help because I mean, where you guys are at, you wouldn't be able to put another one in. Because it wouldn't be
and,
feasible. There's just not enough room.
and could one of your guys come up and. Give me a plan. Of a town,
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely come over there and take a look at it. So it'd just be a hydromechanical and all it needs on there is just a flow control device and you probably only be able to fit probably 100 gallon, 50 gallon per minute in there. So, and it's, the hydromechanicals are a lot smaller and they're just, but they serve a purpose and they do a good job for the most part, as long as they're maintenance. So if you don't maintenance them, keep them clean, then they're gonna keep passing grease through there. So then also, we can't have any commercial dishwashers hooked to them or disposals. So the dishwasher, the reason for that is because the water coming out of the dishwasher exceeds the amount that will liquefy the grease and push it past the interceptor for the trap. So in the foods, the garbage disposal will just fill that trap up too fast. You guys have to probably have it cleaned once every 3 weeks.
don't have garbage,
Good, that's good.
garbage can.
There are professionals who do this kind of job. You can get some quotes. I know all of these neighboring cities, most of them have this code. We are one of the last coming to the state, so this is required. So you can start getting some quotes and getting some pricing. Tim will assist you with whether that's acceptable, the design calculations of that. Tim.
Yep, absolutely.
Is there anything that can go into the basement, like below?
As long as you're still able to hook to the sewer. Yep, as long as it doesn't go out the wall and it's not lower than where the exit's at. We can definitely take a look and figure something out for you. Yeah.
I don't want a big expense, but I wanna sell.
Yeah, so I mean, hydromechanical grease interceptors, they're, I mean, they can be anywhere from $500 to $3,000, but. I mean, we're not gonna, the $3,000 one is for something that's probably not gonna happen in your business. So they're just a little bit too big. But depending on them, there's type A and type B, so one has a flow control that's better, the other one doesn't. So we'll have to always do the type A, which those are the smaller end, so.
Then it's the maintenance afterwards.
Yeah, it's basically the maintenance is where you pay the most cost for, so. Yes, where like the bigger one, you wouldn't have the maintenance, but again, you can't fit a bigger one out there. The 1,000 gallon minimum one, that is.
Give her a problem.
You guys have any other questions or? If you do, in the meantime, you just feel free to give us a call.
Please
We
don't.
can definitely answer your questions and meet you anytime.